So first and foremost, I just want to apologize for those waiting for the Game of Thrones review. I will be doing a Game of Thrones video tomorrow. It's just that I've been out of town and the Wi-Fi sucked. And these videos, these One Piece reviews are a lot quicker to upload and make than the Game of Thrones. But anyway, yeah, and I was out of town, I was taking a vacation, and surprisingly, the place that I was at seemed to match this chapter perfectly as I was reading it. Before I go any further, though, the cover page actually shows Ivankov, and it says, like in the bottom, it says preparation, so I'm pretty sure they are preparing to host the Revolutionary Summit. I'm pretty sure that Dragon and Sabo and Koala that left Baltigo are heading over to Ivankov's place, as well as the other commanders. At first, I just thought that Whole Cake Island was going to be like Oda's version of Alice in Wonderland, like thematically, like the environment was going to be based on Alice in Wonderland. But now that I've read the chapter and I've seen all the things that are happening, and the people and the characters, this is definitely a Disney theme park type of arc. This was not just Alice in Wonderland, right? This was Disney. There was a flying magic carpet in this chapter, and at one point you could even see a mermaid, which makes sense why Big Mom. Now it's more like, oh, I get it. Like, this is why you claimed Fishman Island as your territory, because you're not prejudiced. You know what I mean? You're not prejudiced towards fishmen, and I don't think that Whitebeard was prejudiced either. So in that sense, it's kind of like, oh, it adds a little bit more depth to the reason why Big Mom chose to protect Fishman Island. Also, Peckham's would not have been allowed to join if, Big Mom hadn't invited the Minks or people from different races to join. It's kind of weird because Whole Cake Island seems to be very inclusive, whereas Wano, we know, is very exclusive because we have to take down those borders. I just came back from Orlando, and the one thing that jumps out at you the most when you're just walking around the park is the amount of diversity. People from all over the world travel really, really far to come to this place. All right. So the fact that Peckham says, and this was kind of surprising. I was like, wow, this is really Big Mom's goal. Okay. So yeah, I could definitely see her forming an alliance with Luffy just based on that one goal that she has, which is a utopia where all races from around the world can live in harmony without discrimination, prejudice, or segregation. So that's Big Mom's goal. And Luffy doesn't say that that's his goal. He just wants to be Pirate King. But he is a uniter. And according to Luffy, the person who is the freest is the Pirate King, and you can't really have freedom if you have discrimination and prejudice, right? So yeah, I totally see it. Like, you have people with a long neck, you have long legs, minks. I think there's even a Tontada there. That's crazy. Peckham says that Whole Cake Island is surrounded by 34 other islands, and that's known as Totland. That definitely feels like Walt Disney World, because it's like everything is so spaced out. It does feel, he says it'll take them a day to get to Whole Cake Island. It does feel like everything's super spaced out and you have to wait a while to get to where you're going. It's not like in California where Disneyland, it's just one big conglomerate and everything is together so you can just walk to different sections. No, in Florida, it's like, wow, there's a lot of stretches of land in between each section. And even parks like Epcot have different sections that are all different countries. And then by the end, all these characters, all this shit that has a face and a mouth, they start singing, all right? What can be more Disney than just singing about stuff? No, and then I kind of wish Usopp could have been in this arc because, he was based on Pinocchio. Nami's wearing the typical German girl outfit, and then Brook automatically just see if he can, get a little peek at that ass, those punts. We find out that Pedro has some ties with Whole Cake Island that we previously didn't know anything about. And then, wait, hold on, because didn't Pedro go specifically to keep an eye on Peckham's, and now Peckham's is alone on the Sunny? I don't know. I mean, that was kind of weird. But yeah, and immediately, it's interesting how Pedro almost immediately just turns to violence for whatever reason. Last chapter, he was ready. He was ready to fight the Vinsmokes, and now he's just ready to fight that. The guy that was yelling at Luffy for eating the cafe. He ate the cafe. And thankfully, we meet Pudding in this chapter. She's still covering that third eye of hers that she has on her forehead. and she's riding that magic carpet, and then there's this weird sort of like eel type of thing on her shoulder that has like a hat. And I happen to think that, because I think this chapter kind of confirms that Big Mom's ability is to kind of like give life to things, to inanimate objects. There was a fucking rainbow, all right, with a face in the ending of this chapter. So Pudding has like a piece of Jello mascot thing with a hat that looks kind of shady. At first I thought that's what Big Mom uses to keep an eye on Pudding, because she's too important, especially now with the wedding coming up. But anyway, I thought instead of like seeing that as a piece of Jello, I thought that was Big Mom's saliva that had come alive. Anyway, so we find out more about Pudding's personality, and I have to say, she matches, theoretically speaking, on paper, she matches Sanji perfectly. Just like Sanji, she's a chef. She loves cooking desserts, though, so she's more of a pastry specialist in this case, where Sanji is more of like an overall, like, I think he's good at cooking everything. But yeah, she's definitely more involved in like the desserts and cooking chocolate and all that stuff. But anyway, and she also takes compliments very, very well, actually excessively well, which we know that Sanji is going to be flooding her with compliments, so she'll be able to take them quite perfectly. In fact, she'll be flattered by it instead of being bothered by it, which, you know, most women seem to be when it comes to Sanji. But no, I think, like I said, they haven't met yet. But see, here's the thing, because Oda is so smart, he's so unpredictable sometimes, that when it comes to, he makes you think that something's predictable, and then it's like, oh, plot twist, you thought these characters were going to get together because of their perfect personalities. Well, guess what? Fuck that. So whatever happens, I'm super cool with it. Like, either way, I can see them together just because like attracts like, but I can also visualize them not together because opposites attract. So it'll just be up to Oda and whatever he decides to do with this romantic sort of like theme or undertone of this arc. The important thing here, though, is that Luffy reveals to Pudding that he's Kaizo Koni, Ore wa Nara, yeah, Monkey D. Luffy, I'm going to be king of the pirates, and she's shocked about it. Now, I don't know, I think, yeah, she has to know that Sanji, her future husband, is part of Luffy's crew, right? And then by the end, we know that Big Mom knows that Luffy has arrived. So I don't know if it was Pudding, the one who told her that Straw Hat was you know, in town, or it could have been Germa 66 from the previous chapter that saw him, and they just pretty much told her, yeah, Luffy's here, we just saw him. Or it could have been Jinbei, who we didn't see in this chapter at all. And see, again, now it makes more sense why Jinbei would be affiliated with somebody like Big Mom. It's because she's against discrimination. Yeah, she loves her sweets, she loves her candy, and, you know, she likes throwing parties for people to attend and stuff. And she kills, it seems like she's given her subordinates the order that, you know, in order to get the ingredients or the resources that we need, you can kill anybody. But other than that, like, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, that's a little bit too extreme. But for being a Yonko, I don't think it's that bad, honestly. And when we met her, when Luffy talked to her on the Dendenmushi back in Fishman Island, like, she did, like, we saw or we read that she had eaten some of her subordinates. But those subordinates could have been, like, inanimate objects for all we know. Like, it was just basically like, you're part of my, I gave you life, I'm going to eat you because I'm hungry. What do you think of her design, though? I mean, because I'll be honest with you, I think what I'm trying to say, my main point here is that after this chapter, Big Mom seems a lot less intimidating than I had imagined her to be. But, okay, and this is a huge but, that may be what Oda wants us to think coming into this arc. To let our guard down, and then when shit gets heavy, oh... Because I also think there's a reason, like, why the other Yonko haven't, you know, fucked her up already. There has to be something that she can do that is intimidating enough for other people not to leave her alone in her whole cake island. So I can't wait to find out what that is. Overall, I really enjoyed this chapter. It was a lot of world building and comedy, just setting the tone for the arc. There's a line in the song by the end that says, "It will be a sweet day with a perfectly devilish sacrifice." So I'm pretty sure that Big Mom is planning on sacrificing Luffy. But even after, just for story purposes, despite the conflict that they may have, I can totally see these two forming an alliance together. So please like the review if you did. I appreciate that. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Comment down below with your thoughts. Thank you, guys.